Hello, my name is Garrett. It is 2024 and I'm here to show you how to create a first-person controller in Unity. So I've got my little testing scene created here. I've got a materials folder, prefabs folder, scenes, and scripts folder. Let's go and create our player. So I'm going to right click in the hierarchy, create empty game object, and I'm going to call it player. And I'm going to go over here to the transform and reset the transform so it's in the center of my scene. Just easier to work this way. And I'm going to right click on the player, and we need something to visualize our player in the scene view. So I'm going to go ahead and create a capsule, and we want him to be standing on the ground, so that's at 1 on the y-axis. And now we have our player and our capsule. And on your player, also right click on that and create a camera so that we can actually control the camera in the game. And I've deleted our main camera in the scene, and I'm going to put the camera at about the height of 1.6. That looks pretty nice. And just for preference here, I'm going to do something pretty cool. I'm going to create a 3D object. It's going to be another cube. I'm just going to make this go on his head right here so we can see which direction he's looking. And just to make it even cooler, I'm going to make it look like some glasses here. So it just looks like a little guy here is wearing glasses. And I've got some materials. I've got a player material, nice red color, and a glasses material. And there we have it. We have our little guy here. Now it's time to make him actually work so that we can control him. So I'm going to go over to our scripts folder, create a new C# script, and I'm going to go ahead and use a little namespace. Well, not really a namespace. I'm just going to put Garrett Developer, or GD for short, in front of my scripts, just so that whenever I'm searching scripts, I can just use that as a shortcut. And we're going to call this script first person controller. And let's go ahead and open that up. Alright, I don't need this for right now, but I will later. Now we're going to need some public floats to control the actual player controller values, such as our walking speed, our running speed, the height that we jump, and the distance that the raycast will check for the ground for jumping. So let's go ahead and create that. Let's create our walk speed. I'm gonna call these convenient little names here that are really straightforward. Gonna set that up at 5. And this is gonna be called our sprint multiplier. Just gonna multiply our speed, and we're gonna make that 2 times the walking speed for now. And then let's just call this jump force, and I'll just set that as 5 as well. And then I'm just going to call this ground check distance. This is going to be the distance that our raycast will be projecting towards the ground, and I'm going to set that at 1.5. And then we're going to deal with our camera. So I'm going to make this some more floats for our look sensitivity, so we can control how sensitive the camera is for the Y and X axis. I'm going to set that to 2. Now I'll set that to 1. You can set it to whatever you are comfortable with for your camera controls. Oh my god, I can't type at all. Holy crap. Give me our Y look sensitivity. It's going to be the same. Well, really, we're going to want to limit the camera angle on the y-axis so that the camera doesn't flip backwards over itself. So let's set that look angle, because we like to be able to set our own values in the editor. I'll set the minimum and maximum look angle for the y-axis, which is, I'm going to set it to 90, which is the furthest you'd want to go, or else things are going to start looking really wacky. I'm just going to use Control D on this line to duplicate this and set it to X, and then just put it at 90. Oh no, actually never mind. It's actually going to be max Y. Yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the minimum and maximum Y look angle, -90 and 90. And we're also going to want a reference to our camera in the game. So that's going to be a transform so we can control the movement of it. Oh my god. Play your camera. And that is our references. Now I'm going to go ahead and use void awake, but you can use start. I'm just using awake because I would like to have the player controller dynamically be disabled and enabled during the game. And we want to establish our character controller. We're going to be using a character controller that comes with Unity. It just comes with it, and it'll help us with slope, angles, and the physics of the character, moving the character. It's a way simpler way of doing things, and it's very smooth. So we're going to want to get that component, which we will add onto our player later, and that's going to be the character controller component. And I really don't like to have the mouse floating around the screen, so we're going to go ahead and lock that. Cursor.lock state. We're going to set that to locked. Whenever we click on our screen, the cursor will lock onto the screen. That's just really convenient to be able to do. And time for update, which is going to update every frame, and we'll be able to use this for input and the physics of the player and moving it around. So let's go ahead and do our player movement. Let's start with our input. I'm going to create horizontal and vertical movement inputs. We're going to use an axis that already exists inside of the Unity input manager, the horizontal and vertical axis for WASD controls. And I'm actually just going to get on this line and hit Control D again, or you can just copy paste and change this out to vertical. So there's our WS, A, and D. Yeah, just vertical movement. Alright, now we're going to actually want to move our character controller. And there we go, there's a horizontal axis. Alright. Normalize that. Alright, now we're moving with WASD. And we're still going to need to apply our walking and sprinting speed. So let's set our speed, which is going to be our walk speed, which we're setting in the editor. And now we're going to want to also do running. We're going to want to set our own input for this. I'm going to just call it sprint and then set that in the input manager later. And if that axis is more than 0, then that means that we're going to be pressing the shift key for me in my case, which I'm going to show you how to set that up. But then we're going to want to multiply our speed by our sprint multiplier float. And then let's get moving. Let's go ahead and call for the character controller. Oh my god. Let's go and call for the character controller to move. We're not going to be actually having to deal with all this physics ourselves inside of the script. Let's control that move direction. Alright, and now let's do the player jumping. And we're going to want to use the input for our jump button. I just like to use the input manager because we can use it for both keyboard and controller controls. So I'm going to set another input manager type that's going to be just called jump. Oh yeah, also we don't want to be able to jump forever unless it's like some jetpack. We just want to be jumping every time we've hit the ground. We can jump again. So let's go ahead and create a bool that we'll use to check if we are grounded, if our character is grounded. Is grounded. Using a raycast, we're going to project it on the y-axis. We can set how far we want it to go, and then we can use that to determine if our character controller is on the ground or not. Down with this, and we're going to be able to control that ground check distance using that float. And if that happens, if it hits, we're going to return that as true. If it doesn't, it is not true. It is false. And there is our is grounded check. And now we're going to say if the jump button is pressed and we are grounded. I have to add another set of parentheses there. Then on the y-axis, the jump force that was set in the editor is going to be applied. If that's not currently happening, then we want to apply gravity. Oh, and we didn't even set up gravity, did we? We're going to want to add another float, which is our gravity, so that we can actually set how much gravity we want our character to have. And that's going to be the default gravity in Unity is -9.8. So that's what we're going to use. While we're at it, let's go ahead and apply our vertical rotation and velocity. Before we need to use that. Kind of important. Set our vertical rotation to 0. We don't want to be rotating here. And we can finish applying our gravity now, because it is actually recognized. Times time. Let's reference our character controller. Keep it going here with our, now we get to actually use our velocity times time. Alright, so now we've got all of our references. We've got cursor locking, we're getting our character controller, and then we're moving the character controller using an input, and we're jumping, and we are sprinting, and we're also checking to see if the character is grounded. Oh yeah, we need to put an F behind these numbers, all of these. Something that's pretty important is that we're going to need a reference to our character controller. Don't know how I didn't add that yet, because we're going to be using this. We're going to be setting this on awake and finding our character controller on this object. And I forgot to declare these as floats because they are numbers. I don't know what I was thinking. So in update, let's go ahead and continue by adding the camera movement. If our player camera is not null, so if we have actually set it in the editor, then we will set our inputs. Let's get our input for times our look sensitivity for the x-axis, so that we can set our own look sensitivity. Let's Control D on this line, or copy and paste, and let's just change that out to the y-axis. All I gotta do is change this to y, this to y, and this to y. Alright. That is our y-axis. And then let's set our look angle. Which is vertical. And then we're using our min y look angle and our max y look angle to determine this. And then let's apply that to our player camera. Alright. And then we're also doing our horizontal rotation on the x-axis, mouse X. Okay, and that should be that. And I forgot to add the semicolon. And there's our script. And now you can see that I have our player, and I've actually just got the capsule at 0, the camera's at 0.5, and the player itself is being set at 1 on the y-axis, just to get it setting at the ground level. You can really move your player, the base player object, around to anywhere you want. And I'm just going to go ahead and add the first person controller script and the character controller script. And then right here, our player camera. Let's drag and drop our camera onto here. We've got our gravity set. We've got everything set already. And I'm also going to go to Edit, Project Settings, Input Manager. And we don't even have our sprint input set up. So I'm just going to right click on any of these axes and then duplicate array element, and I'm just going to change this out to sprint. Just going to change it to say sprint, And the positive button is going to be left shift. That's going to be our left shift key. Just going to remove the other ones there just so that we're just using left shift for this because I'm playing on keyboard and mouse. And there we are. And my stupid glasses are getting in the way right now. Let me get those out of the way. I'm going to set the camera at 0.7. Alright, so now that the camera's at 0.7, we've got our little character controller here. And you can see I'm able to walk around. I'm looking around. Here's me walking and shifting. See, I can sprint. I can jump. And I'm spamming jump right now, and I'm only able to jump when I'm actually on the ground. And we can see here that we're able to smoothly go up and down slopes. And this should be at the slope limit. So in our character controller, we have the character controller actually already has a set slope limit. So if I take this and make this a really steep slope, we can't actually go up the steep slopes. So that's a common feature you see in games. I can jump around, go up and down these slopes that we're allowed to go on, sprint, look up and down. You can see our clamping is working, our look angle limit. And I'll just go through the features that this character controller actually has. We can set, yeah, like I said, our slope limit, step offset, and you can set the speed you're walking at. It's pretty simple. You can set your walk speed. The sprint multiplier will multiply your walking speed. Right now it's 2 times. How high you want to jump. Your ground check distance. So if you want to have maybe double jump, you can make that higher. And we can set our look sensitivity with this value, and our look angle, and we can set our gravity. So whatever gravity you want to have. -9.8 is the default. You can change that up. And so yeah, that's just a simple tutorial I wanted to refresh on because my previous character controller tutorial is outdated now. It's a couple years old. This is the latest character controller that you're going to find, and I really hope you guys have fun with it. I'm going to continue this tutorial series. I'm going to be making, next up I'm going to be making item interaction and an inventory system. And from then on, who knows, but I'm going to be making plenty of tutorials. This is going to be the base for all of that. So have fun with your projects. I really hope that this has helped. If it did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.